So I've been working with Sugar full-time since 2019. I was fortunate enough to take the role as full-time strength coach. Ever since then, we've just been building and improving. He's one of those very unique athletes that understands the complexity of the task and how everything that he does filters into his performance, his sleep, his nutrition, his mindset. What he's doing outside of his training also influences the ultimate goal, which is to be a world champion. From my perspective as a coach, that's rare. When you get an athlete that doesn't need to be held accountable to those things, they just understand it. So the role is very different as a coach when you have the athlete that understands that. So as a team, myself, Taquinho, and Tim, we're here to support Sugar. So we're all invested in the same goal, which is becoming a world champion and winning the fight. What we do a really good job as a team is connecting, understanding what's going on in the other modality. We get together on Saturday sparrings and we get a chance to have communication. We get to talk about how he looks, what we're seeing, and we've been doing this for a while now. So I think this is our 11th fight together. I could be wrong, but it's around that. So 11 fights of growing, of getting to know each other, of developing even a better relationship within the team. And I couldn't be with better guys. You have Taquinho, multiple-time world champion, that has his own perspective in what he sees. You have Tim, one of the best MMA coaches, that has a really unique relationship with Suge, and then me. So I think there's just a great camaraderie between us all. As a strength coach, as a coach, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And one of the highlights of my career is working with Sugar. A big piece of that is how he embraces growth, how he embraces curiosity and constant improvement towards a goal of becoming a world champion. And what impresses me and what I've learned from in observing Sugar is how the greater the challenge, the more he steps up, and the calmer he can become in a more stressful scenario, which I think is really unique. And it's a testament to his mental training, his mindset, and how he continues to work at those things. Within our training, we're constantly integrating breath work, we're integrating nervous system regulation. And because he already has that, it's extremely fun because we get to take it and steer it in different directions and bring in new challenges. Because ultimately, as the way I see it and as a coach, is when we're presented with something that scares us or we're presented with something that stresses us out, the only option is to move straight at it, to welcome it, to open to it. I think that's what separates the elite from that next level underneath, is this willingness to move towards fear, stress, insecurity, whatever you want to call that, to open to it and to attack it. And it's something that Sugar embodies in his practice, not only in MMA, but in life. One of the challenges with MMA athletes is the balancing of all of the variables. There's a lot of variables. There's grappling, there's wrestling, there's striking. Obviously that's MMA. You have strength conditioning, which should supplement the sport and should fill gaps. One of the things that we're very aware of in our camp is monitoring fatigue and looking at readiness. A big piece of that is Sugar and I having a relationship where he trusts me and we can talk about how he feels. So we're constantly looking at pairing objective data, the Oura Ring. We're doing Moxie testing now, so we're looking at how he's utilizing oxygen and what is his feel. What's the subjective nature? How does he feel when he gets up? Does he feel like he's trending in the right direction? So it's a very reactive model. We have a plan. We map out that plan, we learn from our mistakes, but we're always willing to make adjustments as needed so that we can peak when it's appropriate. Obviously that's on fight night, but we prioritize sparring sessions, we prioritize hard grappling, always looking to monitor fatigue, monitor readiness, so that we're making sure that we're recovering as much as we can in a sport that's so demanding on your physiology. Developing a strength conditioning program for an MMA athlete or for Sugar, there's a lot of complexity, and that's one of the reasons why I love it, is because MMA is the most complex sport that exists. Understanding the complexity is a huge piece of it. And one of the keys, as I see it, is understanding that Sean is not competing in powerlifting. He's not competing in weightlifting. He's competing in MMA. Many strength coaches, from my perspective, or that I've seen, tend to be very biased that a MMA athlete, or that every athlete, needs to be better in the gym. And that's not to say that being stronger, being more explosive isn't important. It is. But their sport always has to take precedence. So anything that I do in the gym, any adaptation that I'm looking to create in the gym, takes a backseat to the specificity of his sport. From that perspective, I'm always looking at assessing his readiness, assessing his recovery, and making sure that I'm not forcing strength conditioning when it's not appropriate. Again, at the end of the day, he's an MMA athlete. He's not a weightlifter. He's not a power lifter. My role is to understand the gaps in his physiological systems and in his movement capacity that are preventing him from performing at the highest level, or from ultimately achieving his outcome, achieving his goals of being a world champion.